What is up, everybody? It is Alk here, back with another video. Very recently, I leveled my 5th level 60 mage. I know I'm crazy. Up to level 60, and I did it through all solo content that you guys could repeat. And so I did it all live on stream, just showing you guys different methods for how you can level up, but I also wanted to make a video showing the actual ways that I leveled up and showing the individual mechanics that you should know as you level up yourself so that you don't get tripped up along the way, because sometimes they can definitely be hard farms. As I said before, I did this all on Twitch, and so if you guys want to check out the Twitch, it's linked down below. Also hit that subscribe button. But we're going to be going through Mara and doing some different farms in Mara so that you can level up really quickly after you get through the ZF solo leveling. Obviously, ZF is going to be the most amazing experience you can get, and if you guys haven't seen my new level 40 ZF video, I'll link it up above. Definitely check it out. But outside of that, once you get past that, you need another way to level up, and Mara is a fantastic way to do that, either by doing the one pull or doing the elemental farm. So I'm going to be showing both those strategies and things you really need to think about when you're going through so that you guys can be as successful as possible. Okay, so the very first thing I did was I wanted to go ahead and actually level up my herbalism. Now, I did this because Mara has ghost mushrooms and blindweed and everything where you can make a lot of gold while you're leveling up and easily afford your epic mount once you get 60. Easily. So I leveled up my herbalism, then I came over to Mara, went over to Kavindra, and picked up the quest to get the Mara Scepter. The Mara Scepter, you don't actually need it to level up quickly while you're doing this if you want to get the herbs as well as you go through. However, it is nice to have, and you might as well get it while you're doing the quest and maybe get some nature resistance gear as well as we did here. So with this quest, we have to go into the orange side, go and kill Noxion, then go into purple side, go kill Lord Viletongue, and then once we get the two parts of the scepter, go over, kill Celebros, release his spirit, and then turn in the quest, and we're pretty much done from there, and we can start our boosting. So here we're about to kill Noxion. Now Noxion's relatively difficult. If you're trying to solo it, definitely be fire, and I wouldn't recommend trying to do it at FV4. It's probably not going to end well. Maybe you can get lucky and kill him, but it's going to be really tough. Just get a couple friends, blow through it. If you guys all need the scepter, it's going to be worth it. But we just kill Noxion real quick. Obviously, the hunter can do a ton of damage, and so you just blow up Noxion. Now, Noxion can drop some good items for nature resistance, which is, of course, going to be useful in Mara, because nature resistance is going to be what allows you to get off just a lot more damage, because you're not going to be getting hit by everything. And so here we can get the Heart of Noxion for 10 nature resistance for our mage to get started. Now, to quickly get over to Lord Viletongue, you can run through the orange side itself to get over, but it's probably going to take too long. So I would just recommend dying and running back into purple, and that's probably going to be the easiest way to get over to him. There are a couple reset spots which you can use any large ledge or anything like that to go ahead and reset on the way to Noxion, or on the way to Lord Viletongue. So I'll show that real quick. So here you can see the reset spot. So my hunter's chilling right there, but obviously my other two tunes are standing right there, and that's a reset spot. And so now we're just able to run down to Lord Viletongue, and it's really easy to go and kill him. You actually won't aggro that Tingler around the side. As long as you hug the wall, you get up to the boss, and then you can take him out real easy. So you don't actually need to clear any packs or anything like that, really. It's just all about using the resets to be able to get through really quickly. This boss is, again, real easy. The one thing to worry about is that there are 2 stealth ads. So what we did was we had one person take care of the stealth ads while the other people blow up the boss, and it's just quick and easy to take him down. You don't need a healer or anything like that. But that gets you the other part of the item. Once the boss is dead, then we take out the 2 ads, and we have the 2 parts of our staff, and so we're ready to go over to kill Celebros. Now, the path to Celebros is pretty easy to sneak by everything, but if you do aggro anything, you can easily kill it, or you can actually use a reset spot kind of close to Celebros to go ahead and reset the mobs and be good to go from there. So it's up to you guys however you want to do it, but basically you just run around this outside path over here, hugging the wall, not aggroing any of the mobs. The place where you may potentially aggro mobs is when you get through this side here. There are 2 slimes right there, 2 creeping sludges, and so you can try to run by them, but you're going to aggro, or you can try to blink by them, and if you blink by them, you'll probably be good. Even if you aggro these guys, though, obviously I do kill them, but you actually don't have to kill them. Once you get down to Celebros, there is a tree that if you jump behind the tree, it is a reset spot, and so you can reset all the mobs like that, and you'll be perfectly fine. So here we run off the side, and now, as I said before, there is this tree, and so here is Celebros's mound, and right off to the left, there's this tree right here. If you jump up behind this tree, it's a reset spot, and so you don't need to worry about any of the mobs that you aggroed. Celebros itself is really easy to kill. You blow it up, the 3 ads are just non-elites, so you can take them down with the mages very, very easily. And then Celebros just casts lightning bolts, but he dies very, very quickly, and it's not a problem at all. He does also drop some nature resist gear, though, which is really nice to get, and so you can get the cape off of him, which does give you some extra little nature resistance when you're going through and actually trying to do the Mara pools. So once you have everything done, you talk to Celebros right here in his little treant kind of form. He runs over to this pillar, and you talk to him again, and he spawns this book on the ground. You click on the book, and then the quest is complete, and you officially have your staff, and you're able to go through Mara. So now there's 2 Mara pools. There's the Mara Elemental pool, and there's the Mara Purple and Waterfall pool, which is just a standard pool. As far as experience goes, the purple side will give you the most experience. It will give you more experience to do that than the elemental pool, up until 56. The elemental pool will give you more experience at 56. That being said, if you're comfortable with one or the other, both are going to give great experience, so just stick with whichever one you're comfortable with. The elemental pool is about 100,000 experience per hour, and the purple side pool is about 120 to 130,000 experience per hour, up until 56. At 56, a lot of the mobs are gray to you on the purple side, and so you lose a little bit of your experience. It's probably about 90,000 to 100,000 experience per hour. But either way, it's a great method. So let's jump in to the elemental pool. Okay, so for the elemental pool, we can actually just get started right away. So what we do is we run over here, we jump down, and then we're actually ready to go with the elemental pool. I put on some scrolls of protection and scroll stamina, which you could definitely use, but are not necessary. But once you jump down, you're at the start. So there's actually 2 pools for the elemental pool, and I have a full video going over this, and so I highly recommend watching that video if you guys would like. However, this is going to be a brief kind of overview of things to watch out for while doing this pool. First off, don't fall down the ramp. What a way to start, right? But that's perfectly fine. If you fall down, just kind of CC the mobs a little bit and then get back up. Maybe try to reset if you're still used to this or not used to this pool, just because it is going to be a little bit tough to get through, but it should be okay. Run around the side of this pillar. So that's my first recommendation. If you run around the side of the pillar, what happens is all the mobs kind of stack up and they get behind you, and so they're really easy to take care of. From here, here's where a lot of people mess up. They pull the turtles with a face pull, and so they face pull these turtles and they just take a ton of damage from them. You already are going to be losing a lot of your barrier, so you don't want to be taking a ton of damage, and you can see here that I only have 148 of my barrier left. And so if you lose a lot of your barrier, it's just going to spell disaster right from the start. You then have to use a cancel aura and come out of the block without losing as much health as possible. A lot of people have issues with this, and they lose a lot of health coming out of the block, and they're always complaining about them dying immediately. There's not a magical trick to it outside of the cancel aura. And so if you use cancel aura ice block, it renders that you're coming out of the block quicker than if you don't. So make sure that you use a cancel aura ice block, and then you immediately step away with the frost nova. This allows you to get the frost nova off quicker so that you are not taking as much damage. You get off that frost nova, and then you go for the cone of cold on all the mobs, and then start kiting around in a circle. Occasionally pause as you're going around in this circle, and that pause actually allows them to recalculate their routes. So they're constantly kind of doing this large circle as we move around, but when we stop, you can see their bodies slightly shift, and what's actually happening is they're recalculating the appropriate route to get to you, and then they slightly kind of group up, and so you can see that they're a lot tighter than before. This allows you to be able to have the mobs closer so that your cone of cold is going to miss less mobs. If you do find that you're missing a lot of mobs, you can also jump. Jump extends the leeway. And so by jumping, you're actually extending the range that your cone of cold is going to hit from, which is going to make it hit more mobs, which means more mobs die. You can see that this solid snapjaw is running away. What happens is that if you don't use any abilities on them for 8 seconds, they actually run away. So if you're having snapjaws reset a lot, it's because you're not using an ability for 8 seconds, and so they're going to run away. Easy way to handle that is to just make sure that in between cone of colds, you do a rank 1 arcane explosion about halfway through or right before you do the second cone of cold, just to make sure that you keep them in aggro. But the big things to remember, coming out of block, cancel aura, immediately run away with the nova, gather yourself, they should be in an arc, jump cone of cold, step away, and then slowly move around in a circle, occasionally pausing so that they group up really tightly. A lot of people have trouble with this one, but hopefully you guys can get this pull down as long as you go into the block with full mana and ice barrier and potentially even mana shield. If you find that you need that, it should be pretty easy to get out of the block unscathed. After the first pull, we're ready for the second pull. So with the second pull, what we actually do is we wand each of these snapjaws. So there's 4 different snapjaw groups plus the large group of 5. And so we wand, counterspell, fire blast, whatever you want to do to be able to pull these guys really quickly. Get them all grouped together, and then you're just going to wait there until they're all grouped. You're not going to take a ton of damage. Step away and nova. This is going to cause them to all be in a decent line. You can see here that this frog is going to interrupt my flame strike. Gotta love it. So I have to swap over to cone of cold, but it's pretty easy. Again, we're going to occasionally pause, allow them to recalculate their appropriate routes, and then we are going to go for the Cone of Colds, and we're going to get them to stack up really tightly. You can see one reset because I did not hit them quick enough. So just remember to always make sure that you're hitting them quick enough so you don't have a random mob resetting like that. But this second group is very, very easy to take down. It's just Flame Strike, Cone of Cold kiting strategy. If you guys are new to the Cone of Cold kite, though, I definitely recommend you guys just do this part of the pool for a little bit just to get familiar with how to do the kiting strategy. Obviously, with the implementation of the ZF level 40 strategy, we don't really use this kiting strategy as much before this level, unless you AoE farmed with just that and didn't use Blizzard as much. So this might be new to you. If it is new to you, practice on these mobs. The next pool is going to be much, much more difficult to do with the Cone of Cold strike, with the Cone of Cold strat, just because there's going to be so many more mobs to handle. So definitely practice up here, and feel free to reset the dungeon every time up here. As you can see, we're still getting 87,000 experience per hour, and that is, I don't even think that we reset it. Maybe we did, but still, it's very, very good XP just on these mobs alone. It's about 10,000 XP each time, so that's still, just by doing it and hitting lockout every hour, it's like 50,000 experience per hour you can still get, which is still really good compared to open world leveling. So that's a great way just to practice. After we practice, though, what we do is that we come through this side here. I did aggro a Hydra on the way, but we're going to go up through this left pathway, run around these mobs. Now, there's a nice little trick that you can use to kind of get around these mobs outside of the fact that you can blink and Nova and things like that. Behind this pillar on the left is actually a reset spot. So if you jump up into this corner on the left, it resets any mobs that have aggro on top of you. So since I have the Hydra pulled and everything like that, we're going to see as I stop right here, and you can see that the mobs stop moving. If you aggro Hydras, Demetrions, Guardians, whatever, and you just want to reset them right there, this is a really good trick to be able to get to your final destination a lot easier. The next thing is what I call wall scaling. So there's this interesting mechanic where if you're jumping up along a wall, what happens is that the mobs don't really move. And so here, if I'm running up along this wall, the mobs will actually kind of stop moving and just pause for a second. And so I call that wall scaling. It allows you to get some extra distance on the mobs when they're potentially right on top of you. But here you can just blink around the side and then get to the first reset spot. The first reset spot is going to be this little side ledge right here. And so you jump off the ledge and there you go. Now, this pool itself isn't that difficult as far as the pool goes, and so I'm going to link that video up above if you guys want to watch the Mara Elemental pool, but I just want to focus on the difficult part of this pool, which is going to be the kill phase. So for the kill phase, we're just going to be focusing on that. Okay, so we rounded up all the mobs. We just went past basically where the princess was, and now we're getting to the final kill spot. So we're going to Nova this group, and we're going to take a wide route. By taking a wide route through here, you can see all the mobs are going to trail through us, and then they're going to trail through the open way. They're actually going to be able to group up, and so we're going to blink across, and then the mobs behind us are now coming in like a V-shaped pattern, some from the right, some from the left. We're going to go around the side here, and we're going to aggro all these packs while trying to take as little damage as possible. Once all the mobs get close to us, we're going to pop our lip, and then we're going to stand still. You want to make sure that you pop your Frost Nova either on the top of the ramp or the bottom of the ramp or high enough off on the ramp that you can hit them from the top. If you Nova them too far down the ramp, what's going to end up happening if you want to be up here all the way, so it's either like really far down the ramp or up at the top, is that you're not going to be able to Blizzard them, and then you're just going to die, and it's going to be a bad time. So don't do that. If you have any resist, immediately Cold Snap Nova. At the end of the day, you don't want to bother with one not being CC'd, and it's better to blow the Cold Snap. You're then going to go into your maximum Blizzard rotation, and you're just going to Blizzard and try to get as much of the Blizzard off before you move as possible, but then you're going to take 2 steps away and go back into a Blizzard. One huge recommendation I have for Blizzard is that you're going to see me strafing in between Blizzards. One of the major issues that people have is that they try to like backpedal for the next Blizzard and they don't get as much distance, or they try to turn around, run straight, then turn back around and then Blizzard, and they lose time. Turn perpendicular to the mobs, Blizzard, and then when you step away for 2 seconds, and then Blizzard again. This is going to allow you to not have to worry about all the mobs kind of getting away from you, or all the mobs potentially getting out of Blizzard before you're ready to Blizzard them again. Use strafe to your advantage. It's one of the best things that you can use in the game. Once you have all the mobs down low with Blizzard, we're in a Cone of Cold kite strat with these Guardians. Now, the complex side of the Guardians is that they do shatter. So when they die, they shatter into little Guardians. Those little Guardians are a major pain in the butt because they spawn with a ton of damage and there's a lot of them and they're going to kill you. So you have to be very proactive watching the health of the Guardians to try to get them to all die at the same time. So you can see that I'm tabbing, kind of checking the health of all these Guardians. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to focus to make sure that I get down the individual Guardians at the same time. If there's some that aren't as low, they will run at a slower speed when they're lower, so you can kite them if you need to. But you can see right now I have 2 Guardians that are higher health, so I Fire Blast one of them, and then I think I'm actually going to go for a Frostbolt maybe? No, I'm just going to go for the kill right here. And so this one Guardian's probably going to live through this Flame Strike Cone of Cold, and so I'm probably going to have to kill him with a Fire Blast or something. So I kill him with a Fire Blast, but you can see all these Shardlings on me. I immediately blink away. I did get dazed. You can get dazed by these mobs because they're green to you. And so I run away as fast as possible and jump into the water and reset the Shardlings. I then go back and kill the Shardlings. So just to go over that again, you get the mobs pretty low. Make sure that they're all going to die at the same time. Go for a Flame Strike Shatter combo to kill the mobs in one go. That's going to spawn all the Shardlings. You then have to rush out of there to make sure that you don't die to the Shardlings, get to the water, reset the mobs, and then you can get back up there. This also is a very, very lucrative farm now that the Landslide farm was nerfed, because this does give a lot of elemental earth. And so the elemental earth is going to start going up in price for AQ, plus the Landslide farm being nerfed, which means that there's going to be less availability on the auction house for the elemental earths. I expect them, they're currently at about 4 gold on my server. I expect them to probably go about 6 or 7 gold per elemental earth on my server by the time AQ comes out. Once you're done though in the water, you just go back up there, kill those mobs real easily, and you're perfectly fine. Overall, if you run from the purple side, you can get probably about 5 ghost mushrooms per run, and probably anywhere between 2 and 6 blindweed per run for some extra gold. On top of the elemental earths and everything like that, you can see that we killed 62 deep borers, 5 of the Guardians, and then we're going to kill some of the Shardlings as well, which means that we're going to kill about 130 mobs per run. So there's a very high chance for Edge Masters, elemental earths, there's chances for golden pearls, and this is a great, great way to level up while making a ton of money while you level up as well. You can see that we still have about 90,000 experience per hour up at the top over the course of 14 minutes. So in addition to the elemental farm, we of course have our standard Mara farm that we do as well. And so this is the Mara purple side farm. And so that is what I'm going to be focusing on here. This is a great addition to the elemental farm that you can also do instead, and it's going to give you a lot of experience. So here's how we run through this. I'm not going to be going through the full thing as before, just because I want to focus on the highlights of the things that you guys need to know to be able to do this farm well. So the number one thing here is this is going to be a much more difficult farm than it is at 60. Reason being, mobs can daze you. Mobs also have a higher chance to actually hit you with the poison spells, which means resistance is key and proper use of pots is key. And if you mess up the pathing and you're taking too much damage from the mobs, you potentially could have some major issues. So as you're running through here, what you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure you follow the exact path, and you make sure that you don't get close enough to the sisters. And so here you can see with the slimes, I'm actually going to wand them to pull them because the sisters might be too close to me where they pull and aggro. You want to make sure that when you're going around these mobs, that you're either going right into them for a Nova, like I would do right here, or you're taking a wide route around them. Ultimately, you can aggro them a lot closer than if you're level 60, so you don't have as much liberty, basically, to hug the mobs real tightly without aggroing them. You can see that I just aggroed that slime when I blinked through him right there, taking some excess damage. The hardest part is going to be rounding up the mobs and not dying to rounding up the mobs. One great way, though, to help with that is before you even start the run, pop a nature protection potion. This will probably last you the whole run, but it also shields from a lot of nature damage, and so it's going to keep you going a lot longer without the necessity of any, health pots or anything like that. Also, level up first aid before you come here. By leveling up first aid, you're going to do it at 60 anyway, so you might as well do it before you go. What that's going to do is going to allow you to be able to bandage, hopefully with max rank bandages, which are going to be very, very useful in the farm to be able to get up to max health. If you do ever get dazed, you need to figure out where the mobs are relative to you, and immediately either cold snap Nova if you need to, or if you have enough room for the mobs, immediately block, cancel, block. If you wait in daze too long, it's going to mess up the entire aggro of the mobs, and it's going to mess up kind of your pathing with the mobs, unfortunately. But the more important thing is that the mobs are probably going to get up to you and kill you. So just be safe, block, cancel, block, or cold snap Nova, whatever you need to do to be able to get those mobs off of you. When you're coming around this bend with the sprites, make sure you hug the left. If you don't hug the left enough, you're actually going to aggro the sprites on the right, It's okay if you aggro a Shatterstalker, but again, he could hamstring you. So just bear in mind stuff like that. But it's overall pretty much the exact same path as you're going to be doing at 60 with the slimes. And so obviously you can do this as low as level 52, which is very difficult, but I did do that in one of my videos. Tons of XP if you do it at 52. Absolutely insane, because all the mobs are green to you. It's actually insane how much experience you get at 52. But it's also much more difficult, so bear in mind with that. Outside of that, it's pretty much the same exact pool. Once you get to this point, you're pretty much safe. So the hard part is the first half. Once you're here, the mobs aren't really hitting you anymore, so it's just kiting around and you're pretty much safe and good to go. And now it's about timing when to use your potions. What I would do right here as we're coming around this bend and as we loop back around is I would actually probably pop a shadow protection potion or maybe a nature protection potion if you want to get it back up, and pop that now. We're then going to loop around this bend just as we would, and we're not going to be taking a lot of damage, and we're going to make sure that we blink appropriately here so we don't take any damage. So one thing I want to point out, because actually a lot of people just kind of popped in my head, a lot of people have troubles with this blink. You want to blink before you pass where this straightaway starts. So you blink and you just blink straight across and you counterspell as you're blinking. What that's going to do is it's going to pull these satyrs behind you, but they're not going to hit you, and you aren't going to get hit by these mobs below. So we blink right across, and we don't get hit at all, even though we have no shield. Obviously, you could get one shot if you don't have a shield, if you try to blink otherwise. We're now going to run around the side, run up to the top, get our shields going, and things like that. And now, this is kind of why I said that we want to pop a pot kind of early, because when we loop back around here, we want to make sure that for the kill phase, we have our magic resistance potion. So overall, we have 3 different potions we can use. The nature protection potion, the shadow protection potion, and the magic resistance potion. The nature protection potion is the #1 most important potion, because it's the sprites that are hitting with the abilities that knock back your blizzard. Even if you have 4 corruptions on you, you can block off the corruptions. That's not a big deal at the end of the day, and they're not hitting you with the corruptions kind of knocking back your cast or anything like that. The poison, however, is going to knock back your cast. You won't be able to get off blizzards, you won't be able to slow the mobs, and you're going to die. So #1 most important, nature protection potion. #2 most important is magic resistance potion. Same kind of idea here, where you want to make sure that you're resisting as many of the nature bolts as possible so that you do not get excessive damage on you. But as long as you have both of those, you should be good to go. The shadow protection potion is kind of just a bonus, so that's why I like popping it really early, where if it's up during the kill phase, fantastic. If not, not the end of the world. But right here, we have about 4 minutes until the kill, and so we know that we either have to pop the nature protection potion right now or not ever. Because when we get to the end, we're going to need to pop the magic resistance potion. So if you want to pop that, pop it now. Otherwise, don't pop it and just wait till the magic resistance potion at the end. Now here's the important tips for the kill phase. So the pathing, the first part of the pathing is the tough part, and then this kill phase. With this kill phase, you want to be standing right here. So there's a kind of like pentagon shape, and right off to the right, there's a large triangle, if you will, that kind of comes together. You want to be standing right there, right behind this kind of podium. What that's going to cause is these putrid satyrs to run out like this, and these guys to run out like this in 2 parallel lines. Those 2 parallel lines cause both of the mobs to kind of converge here and get slowed by your blizzard before they come up the pathway. Sometimes, if you're not in a good spot, they're going to bow out, and then they're going to shoot right up the pathway, and that's what causes them to not get slowed by blizzard before they go up the pathway. So you can see here that they're going out in 2 parallel lines, and so they all get slowed. However, if they took the wide route, they would have shot right up the pathway and they would not have been slowed. From here, you do 2 blizzards while you're down here. Your nature protection potion's keeping you alive and keeping you with this blizzard going. You step to the left, and then you blizzard again. Now, the priority is not letting your blizzard run the full time. It's making sure that the mobs are slowed and stacked. When you jump down to this totem, you re-put on Ice Barrier, and then you blizzard right on the group. But you could see that they almost ran away from me just in that instance. And the reason being is that you don't have a ton of time, and so you have to make sure that when you switch sides, it's right after a blizzard tick. As long as you switch after a blizzard tick, that is going to make sure that the mobs are then slowed, so that when you swap, they have the maximum amount of duration, and you have plenty of time to get off another blizzard. From there, it's 2 blizzards while you're on the totem, 1 blizzard while you're on the top, but you can see that anytime an elite dies, we're getting anywhere between 300 and about 500 experience. So it is a ton of experience to do this farm. The kill phase, though, is going to be tough if you just let the mobs run crazy. If you don't have up your shields, you can see that I did lose my nature protection shield, so it is possible to lose that shield. But you can see that overall we get these mobs down. Now, I did not reset my timer before I ran in here, so it was 32 minutes for the session. The actual run takes about 11 minutes, so 1/3, so times 3, about 180,000 experience per hour at this level. And we need about 160,000 experience to level. Now, as far as the gear goes, you just need of the Eagle gear. If you're going to do the purple side with the big Mara farm, have about 50 nature resistance if you can, with some rings, and then potentially some drops off Noxion. But overall, the magic resistance pot alongside the nature protection potion should be what really helps you get through it. For the talents, here is the elemental specific, or sorry, this is the Mara specific farm. So obviously we won't be able to have arcane meditation, magic attunement, and arcane resilience, but we will, or sorry, we do want Arcane Resilience, but one less point into Arcane Concentration, and this will be at level 54. I'll have this link down below, but I also just had a recent video where I made all of my talents for every individual farm, so I'll link that down below as well if you guys want to see that. Then the other farm for the elementals, you have the level 54 Mara farm here, which is the elemental build. We have Shatter instead, which we previously were focused on Blizzard with mana regen, but now we have Shatter, and then we work down through the arcane tree from there. Again, this will be linked down below as well. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment below to let me know so. And if you guys have any other ideas for any other videos, please let me know in the comments below. Also, check out the description for the Twitch where I do all this live, and also for my Twitter and Discord where you guys can be notified of any future updates and when I'm going to go live on stream. So I'll see you guys in the next video.